All right, good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get the meeting started. I think we do have some people still jumping in, so if you feel like you missed something, we'll have an opportunity for general questions at the end of the meeting. And you'll see me looking at my phone. I'm not monitoring other things. I decided to go completely electronic, and so my notes are here. But just so you kind of know that up front. Welcome to Water Rights Advisory Work Group. I'm Kim Nygren. I'm the division director, or the deputy director now. They switched our titles. Deputy director for the Water Availability Division. And so we house the Water Rights Permitting Program, the change of ownership work we do associated with water rights permitting, and then our Brazos, South Texas, Concho, and Rio Grande Water Master programs. And we've got folks from each of those programs here today to give an update on what those programs have been up to in the last year since we last had a Water Rights Advisory Work Group meeting. A little bit about how we're hosting the meeting today. For you, those of you who've joined Water Rights Advisory Work Group for years, we used to hold it in our agenda room, and we'd have probably about 5 people attend in person. But a lot of people who would watch it as we broadcast it on the web and would follow up with some questions. So we've been looking for a good format to have the meeting where several people that we know that will always join us electronically can ask questions on the spot. So we're going to try Microsoft Teams since it's got some enhanced features for us to be able to manage the meeting, and that allows for that interaction with you all. And we'll kind of see where we go from here in terms of the format of the meeting. Some logistics associated with Microsoft Teams. We find that it works better if we have everybody leave their cameras off and their microphones muted, except for the presenter. So that's what we're asking y'all to do today. If you're on the phone, I think *6 mutes your phone. And then when we get to a place behind each presentation, and then at the end where you can ask questions, if you'll raise your hand through the, if you're joining us through your computer or other smart device, if you will raise your hand, and we'll call on you to take questions, and then we'll ask if there's anybody from the phone who has questions as well. Let me make sure I got all of our logistics for today. Again, we are going to have question and answer opportunities after each of our presentations, and then at the end of the meeting. That's all I have in terms of logistics. Next item, I want to go ahead and let y'all know what our operations look like right now. You know, all of us have had real different operations over the last year. We are currently, we've got some stakeholder meetings that we're continuing to host virtually this summer. This is one of them. This is something that might stay in its current format if it seems to be a best fit. And we're going to do our Water Master evaluation meetings and our Water Master Advisory Committee meetings virtually this summer. And then think about best fit for all of those going forward, knowing that Water Master Evaluations is going to have an in-person component going forward in the future. But in the last year, we've been meeting with you all electronically through Teams a whole lot, and I found that to be really efficient and effective, and we're going to keep doing that. But for those of you that have permits, projects, and issues that you feel like are best served by an in-person meeting, we're open and available to do that with you. We need you to make, for right now, we need you to make an appointment with us, we'll have some health screening protocols we've got to work with you on, at least right now. But we do encourage you, if you feel like you have things that are, the needs are better met with an in-person meeting, do go ahead and reach out to us. You can reach out to myself, Kelly Mills, Kathy Alexander, and Brooke McGregor if it's water rights permitting related. And then if it's an issue in your water master area, you'll go straight to one of your water masters for those. Same thing with records. We work to make several of our records available online over the last year and a half. But if there's something you feel like you're missing and need to look for, you can make an appointment to come in and view records either if you have a water master record, you can make an appointment through the water master. Or if it's something in our central records office, you can make an appointment with central records. And if you feel like you're struggling in either place, of course, you can always give myself a call, or Kelly, or any of the folks really that you see here on the meeting today. I think that kind of takes care of things for operations. I think probably we're ready to, I've got a couple new staff that they're going to be presenting today. So we'll be able to introduce them when they come in to present. So I think at this point, I'm ready to hand the meeting off to Kelly. Kelly, are you doing some of our logistics and then handing it back to Kathy?
Yes, Kim. Hello, everybody. I'm sure glad that y'all are all joining us today, and hope this is working for you. We had our agenda posted up there at the very first of the meeting, so hopefully you had a chance to kind of look at it. We're going to hear first from Kathy Alexander. She's going to give us a session update from the 87th session, and then she's also going to give us a water availability model update. And then after Kathy gets done, I'll pop back on and we can take some questions on those topics if you have them. After Kathy, Ruth Takeda is going to give a legal update, and then the same with Ruth. You'll be able to ask Ruth questions. And then Brooke McGregor is going to give our permitting update, followed by Joe Nicosia is going to give our change of ownership update. And then Jose or Pepe Davia is going to give our water master update. And then at the end, we will have a final Q&A sessions that you can ask any questions that you think you want us to try to answer. And I guess with that, I will turn it back over to Kathy.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Kathy Alexander, and I'm a technical specialist with the Water Availability Division. The first thing I'm going to talk about today is a quick update on the 87th legislative session. First off, we did see a lot of bills related to transparency and making information available online. And so over the past year, our division has been engaged in some ongoing efforts to ensure that our permitting related information is available. And an example of that is when an application goes to notice, we post the entire application file out on our website, and there is a link in the notice to the actual application materials. And that includes everything from the original submittal through any administrative RFIs, anything that happened during the technical review, and then the final draft permit that was sent to notice. More recently, we're in the final stages, and we're really excited about this, for transitioning our existing water rights viewer to a more user-friendly map app. And when we do that, it will make it a lot easier to just go in and directly download some of the data files, for example, the water use information data. And another thing that we're really excited about is making our paper adjudication maps available on our website. So you should be seeing that coming soon. And like Kim said, we're continuing with all of these initiatives and to make this information available to everyone. And I just wanted to reiterate that if any of y'all have any feedback on additional information that you'd like to see in the viewer or on our website, please reach out to us and we'll see what we can do about that. And we didn't really have any bills that directly affected the water rights permitting process, so there won't be any rulemaking initiated to implement legislation. However, just as an update, we did receive a petition for rulemaking, and the rule project number is 2021-018-PET-NR. And the short title is Chapters 295 and 297 Intake Petition. This petition requests to amend 30 Texas Administrative Code Chapters 295 and 297 to prescribe measures to minimize impingement and entrainment at desalination facilities. And back up for the agenda is anticipated to be filed on June 11th, and the commissioners will consider the petition at the June 30th agenda. And so that's all I have for a legislative update. Kelly, do we want to take questions on that particular piece of it right now?
I think Kathy, go ahead and give the WAM update, and then we'll take questions.
Okay, so turning to the WAM updates, I'm going to give you a quick update on our contracts to extend the naturalized flows and TCEQ's water availability models. House Bill 723 from the 86th legislative session required TCEQ to obtain or develop updated water availability models for 4 river basins, the Red, Brazos, Neches, and Rio Grande. We had posted the RFQ in October of 2019, and the contracts were awarded in April of 2020. So our contractors are rapidly marching down the road to complete the project. They're in the final stages of the independent peer review required under the scope of work and creating the required reports. And we're on track to complete this project by August 31st of 2021, which is this August. So that's all I have, Kelly.
All right, thanks, Kathy. So at this time, if anyone has questions for Kathy they'd like to pose on either of these items, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll try to get you called. All right, I'm not seeing any hands. Going once, going twice. All right, Ruth, next up is Ruth Takeda is going to give our legal update. Are you ready, Ruth?
Thank you, Kelly. Yes, I am. As Kelly indicated, my name is Ruth Takeda. I'm a staff attorney in the Environmental Law Division here at the agency. And a quick disclaimer, I'm providing my summaries and views today, so any errors belong to me. Any credit is the TCEQ's. I divided my update into 4 different areas. The first is Office of Legal Services. Longtime staff attorney Robin Smith, who very capably supported the Water Availability Division for many years, retired at the end of last month. So that was big news in the Office of Legal Services for us. Second, the State Office of Administrative Hearings. There are no applications to provide you an update. Third, District Court. We do have a case pending in District Court. It's based on an application from the Guadalupe Blanco River Authority, which was protested. A contested case hearing was held at the State Office of Administrative Hearings. After reviewing the proposal for decision last year, the Commission issued an order granting the permit. And one of the protestants, the National Wildlife Federation, appealed the Commission's order by filing a suit against the agency in Travis County District Court. There are several issues that the Federation argues, including the issue of whether environmental impact assessments apply to off-channel reservoirs. And the request is that the order be reversed and remanded. So that case is currently pending. In the Court of Appeals, that's our next area to update you. Last year, I told you about 2 appellate cases that were included in my update. Both were dismissed from district courts based on pleas to the jurisdiction, specifically failure to exhaust administrative remedies. And I'm going to just give a brief update and summary on each. So first, Adams Garden Irrigation District number 19 et al. Versus the TCEQ. That was based on a Travis County District Court dismissal of a lawsuit filed by 18 irrigation districts who alleged that the TCEQ had inappropriately debited accounts in international storage reservoirs on the Rio Grande. Oral arguments been denied, and the case will be decided on the briefs. It remains pending before the 13th Court of Appeals. The second, Pape Partners versus DRR Family Properties. This case began at the TCEQ with 2 change of ownership requests for 1 water right. Pape Partners subsequently sued DRR Family Properties in McLennan County District Court, seeking a declaratory judgment as to ownership, but the case was dismissed and an appeal was filed. The 10th Court of Appeals, with 1 justice very colorfully dissenting, affirmed the trial court decision and went further. They opined that the TCEQ has exclusive jurisdiction to determine ownership of water rights. Pape Partners filed a motion for rehearing, which the TCEQ supported by filing an amicus brief, because the TCEQ's position is that its role in change of ownership requests is ministerial in nature. The motion for rehearing was denied at the end of last year, and in March of this year, Pape Partners filed a petition for review with the Texas Supreme Court. That petition is pending. And I do have a short document prepared with case names and numbers that includes hyperlinks if you want to access more information about these cases. And I can have the program provide this to you if anyone's interested. Thank you. Kelly?
Hey, Ruth, can you turn on your camera real quick while we try to take some questions?
Sure. I've been on, I've just been droning.
So if anyone would like to ask Ruth any questions, now is a prime time to do it. So you can raise your hand, and if you don't know how to raise your hand, you can send something in the chat, I guess, and we'll send it, or in the conversation, we'll see if we can't see it there.
And I'm sorry, Kelly, I didn't realize that my camera wasn't picking up.
Well, I've not been able to see you, so. Okay, I can see Bob Brandis has had his hand up there for a second. You got a question, Bob? Looks like you're muted, Bob. Jason, are you or Mike able to help, or Blaze able to help Dr. Brandis get that mic turned on?
Kelly, we cannot unmute
Okay.
people. We can only mute people. So Mr. Brandis will have to unmute himself.
Perhaps
Bob, there you go. Are you able to unmute Bob? Well, I guess we're going to have to move forward, Bob. If you figure out how to get unmuted, you just unmute and speak up, and we'll take you back in.
or perhaps something in the comment area. I don't know if that feature is available to Dr. Brandis or not.
Let's see. So in the so over in the chat, Amanda Burke said, I don't think we have that option. Sarah Kirkle said, did he try *6? You can try *6, Bob, and see if that lets you unmute.
All right, now I got it.
There you go.
You hear me now?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay, I just had to follow up on your comments regarding the irrigation districts and their lawsuit regarding the accounting. That's at the appellate court still? Is that what you said?
Yes, that's correct, Dr. Brandis. It's still pending. We're patiently waiting and have been for some time.
So there's no more arguments, or it's just a matter of them deciding what they want to do?
Correct. The parties, I believe the appellant had requested oral argument, but oral argument was denied by the court. So they're going to be deciding the case on the briefing that has been filed.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, I see that Myron Hess has his hand up. Myron?
Yeah, thanks. This is just for Ruth. You had mentioned you have a handout that you can share. I'm just trying to figure out how we get that.
Hi, Myron.
Hi.
Well, I prepared. I am just not technically proficient. So what I did was prepared a simple Word document that has some hyperlinks and case names and numbers that I can provide to the program who has staff that is more technically proficient than I am, and they can post it or provide it to individual requesters, however they want to manage that. But I can send that to the program and they can get that to you.
That would be great. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
Yeah, and I would just add on, anybody that would like to have it, just let one of us know and we'll make sure that you get a copy of it. So. All right, I don't see any other hands.
Kelly, we can post that on the webpage after the meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much,
yeah.
Kelly. Thank you, Dr. Brandis and Myron, for asking the questions. I'll provide that information to the program area and they'll get it to you. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Ruth. So next up is our permitting update from Brooke McGregor. Brooke, are you ready?
I'm sorry to interrupt, Kelly. There's a question in the chat I want to bring your attention to.
Okay.
Can you see
Let
that?
me get over to you. So John Zhu has a question for Kathy. Do you have any update on Daily WAM? Any more basins in your pipeline except published Brazos, Trinity, and Netches?
Thank you for the question, John. We're continuing to work on those daily WAMs, and I can circle back with you offline after the meeting and give you some updates on more specific information.
All right. Thanks, Mike, for letting me know.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we're going to have Brooke McGregor. Brooke, why don't you take it away?
All right. Thanks, Kelly. And just give me 1 minute to get my presentation here pulled up.
While Brooke's getting that pulled up, I know most all of y'all have had a chance to meet Brooke, but she is our new section manager for water rights permitting and availability. We've Amy got stolen from us to be the assistant deputy director in water quality planning, and we're lucky that we've got Brooke subbing in for us now, and she's doing a great job. So if you haven't met her, I'm looking forward to y'all getting to meet her. She's a great person.
Thanks, Kelly. Thanks to everyone for joining us today. So like Kelly said, I'm Brooke McGregor, and I'm going to talk to y'all a little bit about what we have going on in the water rights permitting and availability section. For the past fiscal year, we've really been trying to look for areas where we can improve timeframes, as well as reduce the number of in-house applications. So, as you know, when we receive a new application, we first review it for administrative completeness. Our target for that is 90 days. So for fiscal year 21 through the third quarter, which was May 31st, we've received 65 applications. Of those 65, 45 have been completed, and we completed those, 84% of those have been completed in that 90-day time frame. And then we also have been working with our House Bill 1964 applications. That was passed during the 86th legislative session and provided an expedited process for certain water right applications. The targeting processing time for that is 90 days. And so far through quarter 3, we've received 11. 10 of those have been completed and 100% have been processed within that 90 days. And the one that we currently have in-house is on track to be completed within 90 days as well. Fast track applications, applications that don't require a substantial modeling component. We have a 300-day time frame for those. For this year so far, we've received 27 applications. and we've completed 60. So the 300-day timeframe for the fiscal year hasn't quite reached us yet, but this has been an area where we've really been able to reduce the number of applications that are in-house with us. And so, you know, you can see that there's that 37% processed within 300 days. A big factor contributing to that is quite a few of those 60 that have been completed were received quite a while ago. Next, just a general permitting update. We have 131 applications that are pending. Out of those, 20 have hearing requests, and we are working to have those moved, working through our process to get those set for agenda. Like I mentioned before, 65 applications received. We've completed 102, and sort of you can see the breakdown there of how many were issued, withdrawn, and returned. And here is a bar graph showing the number of applications received versus processed by month. You can see that we have some months where the number received outpaces the number processed, but overall, we're certainly processing more than we receive. And this graph is the total number of pending applications we have in-house, looking all the way back to November of 2014. And you can see that we've continued the overall downward trend, with numbers recently dipping below 150 pending applications for the first time in several years. And here's a breakout of currently what's pending with us in-house, broken out by technical review. And the goal of this is to just kind of give you an idea of what types of applications we're working on and the number of each one that we have in-house that kind of falls into that category. And then finally, some staff updates. We have a new surface water and availability team leader, Cheryl Cavone. She started with us a couple months ago, and we have 3 vacancies for some hydrologist positions, and also a vacancy with the resource protection team leader. So we'll be looking to fill those pretty soon. And I provided my contact info, and this will all be posted afterwards as well on the web. So if y'all need to, my number's all over, but if you need it, here's another place that you can grab it. So that's all I have, Kelly.
All right, that's a great presentation, Brooke. I will say to the group before we take questions, you know, she's got her resource protection team leader is vacant because I stole Jason Godo from Brooke, and Jason's working at the division level as a technical specialist with Kim and I and Kathy now, and I'm really glad to have him aboard. So with that, we'll start taking questions. And I think I'm supposed to call on Kurt Kennedy first. So Kurt, if you want to unmute and ask your question.
I don't think I had a question, Kelly.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you answered me. It's good to hear you.
Okay.
Okay, Kelly, we do have one question in the chat. Francis Lovett says, what is a fast track application?
There you go, Brooke.
Okay, sure. Hey, Francis. So fast track applications are applications that don't require substantial modeling.
All right, if anybody on any of the phone lines have questions, y'all can hit *6 and unmute yourself and ask.
You're welcome, Francis.
All right, I'm not seeing any hands or anybody popping on, so we're going to move on to Joe Nicosia for our change of ownership update. Joe, you ready?
Yes, sir. Just getting it all situated. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to be giving a quick highlight of all of our online processes for change of ownerships and water use reporting. So we're going to go through just 3 areas. The first is the annual water use reporting online that we implemented this year. Then we'll follow up on our change of ownership form updates from last year. And then finally look at how to pay online through the ePay portal. So starting with the annual water use reports, for the 2020 reporting year, we implemented the single-use non-premier submission system, or SUNS, to submit water use data. Now what customers use is their name, their email address, and this form ID code that's listed on each water use report that is mailed out. And with those 3 things, they're able to access the correct form for their report and then submit it all online. Once it's submitted, they can print a copy of the submission, but that goes straight into our databases without having the chance of it getting lost in the mail or something like that. All throughout SUNS, this SUNS program, we have inline help text for those of you that have just specific questions on each question that we have for you, or we have this instruction document that's available for helpful hints and advice. If you have questions about water use reports, we have our new contact phone number. It's the 239-4600, or you can email us directly at the wur@tceq.texas.gov email address. Now, I will say this is a really big success for us. This year, about 43% of the submitted water use reports came electronically. So that's well above what we were expecting in the first year of implementing a program. And we fully expect next year to be even better and have more submissions through the electronic interface. All right, moving on. The change of ownership form has been online for about a year now. And what that is it's a fillable PDF document where applicants can go in and can fill in all the information for their change of ownership. They can sign with the PDF signature, and then when they hit submit, the form will open an email message with that form information attached. And in that email body, you can give us more information or details or cover letters. You can attach cover letters or attach electronic version, recorded documents, or attach maps, anything you want to send to us, as long as it's under, it's a small size. If you want to go larger than, I think, 25 megabytes, you need to go through our FTP site. But that's the online change of ownership form. And again, we have instructions and helpful hints about filling that out or acquiring, your conveyance documents and anything in that area. So again, our new phone number is listed there, and then we have a water rights change of ownership, or that WRCOO email address that'll be sent to us. Excuse me. That's where the change of ownership form is sent to, and then if you have questions or want to attach anything, additional documents, you can send them straight to that mailbox. And finally, along with the online change of ownership submission, you can pay for the water rights change of ownership recording fee online. Now, this is through our ePay portal, and you will go in and select the water rights change of ownership recording fee link, and then fill in your customer name and billing address, that sort of information that's required. We do ask that for the project number, you would put the 4 or 5-digit water right number, just so we can match it up easier. Once this is submitted, you'll receive a voucher, and you can either attach that voucher to the submission for the change of ownership, or you can send us the voucher number in the email body text. Either is helpful, and we'll get it coordinated. And that's it for payments and change of ownerships. And water use reports. This is again all of our contact information, our various email boxes for getting more direct answers, and then again the general water availability email boxes are there at the bottom.
Thanks, Joe. Great info. Does anyone have any questions for Joe at this time?
Hello, Kelly. We had a question come in on the chat from John Zhu. Says, can you explain a bit more about reuse permit? You give out a permit, meaning one can reuse up it without return, might be other requirements. It came in very early in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kathy or Brooke, one of y'all want to take that one?
Right. Thank you, John, for the question. So a reuse permit is when someone comes in and asks for an authorization to divert return flows that they've discharged into the river. And so those can be either groundwater or surface water based return flows. And that's only indirect reuse, since we don't do direct reuse here in the Water Availability Division.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Kelly, I did want to add, just to kind of jump off what Joe was talking about some of the electronic submittals with change of ownership. About a year ago, along with change of ownership with water rights permitting, we also asked people to start submitting their applications electronically. And so we plan to continue to do that. It's a more efficient processing for us. Hope it makes it easier for you guys too. For right now, under our rules, we still have to get one paper copy. So we ask that y'all submit to us just one paper copy. And we're looking kind of towards the future when we can just go completely electronic. That's all I have though. Thanks.
All right. All right, before we move on, last chance for questions. Any of you phone guys out there? Well, all right, Joe, thanks. Skak, you're off the hook. So next up, Pepe Davia is going to give the Water Master update. Kim and I brag on our staff all the time, and we brag real hard about Lori Garris, and we brag so hard that the commissioners came and stole Lori from us, and she's the new chief clerk for the commissioners. And so that created an opportunity, and we brought Pepe in as our new section manager of the Water Master section, and he's just doing a phenomenal job. And I know a lot of y'all know, and I don't want to steal any of your thunder, Pepe, but Lupe Luna retired at the end of March after 40 plus years of state service as the Rio Grande Water Master. And so Pepe's got news to tell you about what's going on the Rio Grande. So I'll just turn it over to Pepe. We'll go from there. There you go, Pepe.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you for those words. Let me start sharing my presentation real quick. Okay, I believe it should be on.
Yep, you're good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, my name is Jose Davila, and I'm the new Water Master Section Manager. I go by Pepe. And I'd like to begin my presentation by saying that the agency division and the Water Master section have concluded phase 1 of its COVID operations plan on May 31st, and we have already entered our phase number 2 of the return to the office plan on June 1st. We will now begin coordinating the scheduled public access to physical records viewing, as well as opening for scheduled small in-person meetings around the section. And we also expect to follow the upcoming return to the office plan changes to be laid out in the near future by the division and the agency. Our field operations have been considered critical and essential for the agency and the public. Therefore, our inspections, our water rights inspections have continued and will continue as usual. Our deputies will also continue to use protective gear and minimizing contact with the public. We will also continue to encourage our users to submit pump operation reports, temporary permit applications, and court data forms, etc., in electronic format. And in some cases, some of those will have to be followed with paper records as well. But we hope those could be minimal. It's also been proven that during the pandemic, the use of video calls and virtual meetings resulted in a highly effective manner to conduct internal and external agency business. For example, having various virtual meetings such as the WRAWG meetings this coming summer and last summer, basin evaluation meetings, and or just regular meetings with our customers in general, as well as conducting job interviews. We will continue to maximize our electronic resources and tools where it is permitted and warranted. And speaking about virtual meetings, we are at the closing of the second cycle of water master basin evaluations. This time we're evaluating the Cypress Creek and Sulphur River basins. Stakeholder letters went out in March and May. The meetings are taking place this week. We had our first meeting this Tuesday, and we're having our second and last meeting tonight at 6 p.m. This is the second year we conduct electronic meetings first of all, due to the pandemic, and also due to the low number of complaints in the areas being evaluated, as well as the low interest in the establishment of new water master programs throughout the life of the evaluation cycles. Having electronic meetings saves the agency resources and provides a convenient forum for all the discussions with the public. Okay, so next I just wanted to show you all a slide of the accumulated precipitation between May 2nd and June 2nd. As y'all can see, I hope you can see it. I apologize because the state boundary is not very visible, but at least you can have an idea the amount of rainfall that we have received throughout the state. We're blessed that we have received all the rainfall, and as deep West Texas still has to receive some rainfall, and we hope that changes in the near future. The next slide I have is the drought map, which correlates to the accumulated precipitation map that I just showed you. As y'all can see, drought is almost gone from the state, except for deep West Texas. We hope that changes in the near future, and we have more influence into the rivers and reservoir systems in that area. Next, I have program updates. First, I'd like to inform about staff changes and vacancies around the section, like Kelly initially mentioned. The Rio Grande Water Master, Mr. Luna, retired in March this year, and I left my position as Assistant Rio Grande Water Master to become Water Master Section Manager on February 1st. On April 1st, Anthony Stembaugh was selected as the Rio Grande Water Master, and Gina Bermea was selected as the Assistant Rio Grande Water Master. Also in the Rio Grande program, we're also in the process of filling 3 deputy vacancies in Laredo/Eagle Pass and Harlingen, and 1 administrative assistant in Harlingen as well. The Brazos Water Master program is in the process of filling 1 deputy vacancy in DFW/Stephenville offices, and the South Texas Water Master is in the process of filling 1 deputy vacancy in the Corpus Christi area. Besides the vacancies and the stat changes, the individual updates from each program, the Rio Grande, I'll start with the Rio Grande program. The basin and the international reservoir system storage, mainly Falcon Reservoir, have improved greatly due to all the rainfall. As of May 22nd, the U.S. combined ownership at Amistad and Falcon reservoirs stood at 39.41%. That is 1.3 million acre feet. Still low compared to other years, but it's good. The lower Rio Grande Valley peak irrigation never surfaced as suspected due to the rainfall as well. That is also very good. However, the upper Rio Grande, as we saw in those maps, and also the Mexican Conchos Basin, which also we depend on, have yet to receive significant rainfall. However, field work doesn't stop. Our deputies continue their water rights inspections as usual. South Texas Water Master Program, they continue to process multiple temporary permits, mainly for hydrostatic testing and oil and gas. There was a brief curtailment schedule issued in the upper Guadalupe Basin between May 27 and June 1st, but had no major impact since it was short and it was ended due to the rainfall and water holders following their own special conditions in their permits. And again, in this area, field work doesn't stop either. Concho Water Master Program, rainfall has also slowed diversions and irrigation has been minimal. Reservoirs have gained significant storage in that area. The Brazos Water Master Program, irrigation has also been minimized by the rainfall. The BRA's reservoir system is expected to be at full capacity in the next couple of weeks. Some of the reservoirs continue to vacate water from their flood pools, but all the reservoirs are in good shape and able to handle the excess storage and inflows. Also, the Texas Water Development Board is funding an additional installation of a stream flow gauging station near Navasota, which will help in river monitoring as well. And here as well, the water master deputies continue their daily work nonstop every week. Overall, all 4 programs are at 76.6% of the number of inspections required by the legislature by this time of the year. Given the special circumstances around the pandemic and dealing with the vacancies, the section is still slightly over the number of inspections required at the end of the 3rd quarter. And I believe that's all I had. That's my contact information. If y'all need to get in touch with me after the meeting, you're welcome to do so.
All right, Pepe, there's a lot of great information. Thank you so much for sharing it with us.
Thank you.
At this time, does anyone have questions that they would like to ask Pepe about the Water Master program and what's going on? Any of our phone-in callers want to ask anything? Well, all right. I guess we'll let Pepe take a break. And with that, we're down to our final Q&A session. So if Kim and Kathy would pop back up on here, we will be glad to try to answer any questions y'all may have for us. We're really encouraged by how many folks we've got on the line for sure. So. I see Dave Lindsay has a hand up. Dave, can you unmute?
Yes, sir. Does that work?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question is for Kathy. The question, one of the things we're seeing is just a very large, proliferation in the Colorado basin above Austin of these stock ponds, and they, our inflows just seem to drop to nothing quickly, and it takes a while to reestablish the flows. Like these, we finally are getting good flows right now, but the question I have is the WHAMs don't pick up the smaller stock ponds, do they? And how do you have any, given the fact the scope and the size, the numbers, and their impact, is there any thought about the need to try to address that?
Okay, so thank you, Dave, and that's a good question. So the WHAMs, let's start here. The stock ponds, if they are for domestic and livestock use, they're exempt from permitting. So we don't adjust them in the naturalized flow process. So what that means is that in our models, they get the water first because they are superior water rights. And so, by statute, a person can construct on their own property, as long as it's not on a navigable stream, a reservoir that impounds less than 200 acre-feet for domestic and livestock uses, which are defined in our rules.
Right. I guess that's the problem is they are, it's not that they're not legitimate. They, there's no question that right now, but as all these areas, these big ranches are being broken up, and it's, to my understanding, there's no parcel size requirement or limit on that 200. So it's ending up being, I think some of the estimates that have been out there are in the 40,000 stock ponds in the basin, which is. It's just seeming the magnitude is starting to be a little concerning, and I just wondered if that was something that could get some thought about how that might be affecting water availability and what might, if anything, could be done. If anything, though, is a minimum trying to figure out a way to get it into the modeling, the reality. Anyway, that's just a thought.
Okay. Thank you, Dave. And just to conclude that. Just know that because those uses are exempt from permitting, we don't regulate them and we don't track them. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, Dave. John Zhu, I see you have your hand up. Go.
Thank you. Maybe I can follow up of this, provide a little bit more information. We have several studies in ARP, Brazos River basins, the similar situation. People complain the surface water availability become less and less. One of the reasons is a stock pond construction in there, but maybe other reasons. Anyway, there's some situation is really changing. So I really like your TCEQ can do something in the future, maybe change the law or any other thing. Thank you.
Thanks, John. I'm sure if how it just respond, if the legislature makes a change for something like that, then we will implement the legislature's will for sure.
Thank you.
Any other hands out there? Any of you folks on the phone want to *6 and have anything to say? Well, y'all are pretty quiet. I know y'all aren't really this quiet. Well, Gib, I'm not seeing any hands come up, and I haven't heard anything from Blaze. So, oh wait, Newland Fernando's got his hand up. Go ahead, Newland.
Thank you. I had to ask a question. This is for Kathy. Kathy, will the updated WAM datasets be available from the 1st of September, or will there be a time during which you all will be reviewing the deliverables that the contractors provide?
We're on track to have those available September 1st.
Great. Thank you.
All right. I'll just reiterate what Kathy said. We're very excited about our phase 2 of our surface water rights viewers, and we're hoping to get that all wrapped up before the end of the fiscal year, and hope it'll make it even easier for you folks to find information on our viewer and help kind of make our whole process more transparent. So.
Okay. Well, we'll hang on the line, but we'll officially end the meeting, and if y'all come up with any questions as you're jumping off, we'll be here to answer them. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we appreciate the folks that have commented that you like this format pretty well, that it's helpful. So that's very good to hear. And for some of you folks that were giving helpful tips in the chat earlier, I appreciate that as well. Chris Higgins, I'm glad all your reservoirs filled up out there.
Hey, Kelly, we do have a question in the chat.
Okay, let's see.
Angelica Huerta says, what email do we use for the water rights viewer feedback?
I would say just send that to Kathy, would probably be the best place to go. Just email your comments to Kathy. Is that okay, Kathy?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'll type that into the chat so you have it.
Hey, Kelly, this is Jeff Sadis.
Hey, Jeff.
I just a comment, not a question. I just want to thank you all for bringing all this rain.
I started to say something about that earlier. Kim and Earl L'Oreal sent out a drought letter right before it started raining, so I think they get a little bit of the credit.
I mean, it's the long-standing tradition. Talk water and brings the rain.
You know, if a letter to all the water right holders brings us the rain we need, we can do that. right. Just about had most of our folks exit the meeting, so we might be doing that in a couple minutes ourselves. Thanks to everybody who's.
Yep, and thanks to Jason and Blaze and Mike for kind of facilitating this meeting for us. They did a great job.
Y'all made it easy on us. Thank you for us. Let me know when you feel I should stop recording.
I think you can stop recording, Mike.
I will do so.
Thank you. All right.